So Hammond Smith is a guy who I've previously covered on this channel before. If you don't know who he is a big Nintendo fanboy. Like, you got Xbox, and you have ponies. Yeah, this guy is a Nintendron, like the legal definition of a Nintendron. So, according to our good pal Mr. Smith over here, Final Fantasy XVI is a bomb. He has a very, very piping hot shit take on this, so, without further ado, let's just play the video.
The numbers we've seen for Final Fantasy XVI are very suggestive. I've just seen a Twitter user claim that sales are 75% down for Final Fantasy XVI, which of course was Final Fantasy XV, which of course was also a massive bomb.
Oh god. So now Twitter is becoming a reliable source on gaming news, guys. Fucking hell. God, now you're gonna tell me the Red Dragon is an accurate journalist. Fuck me. Anyway, so apparently Final Fantasy XV was a bomb. That game sold 10 million copies by the end of its cycle. 10 million times 60. If I was to quickly do the maths, let's just say the games all sell for $60 a piece. That game made $600 million. So I wouldn't really call that a bomb. If that's a bomb, fuck me. I'll take that bomb any day. However, let's just, for the sake of this video, let's play along like sales are down. Okay, let's play devil's advocate here. Let's side with him for once. I could imagine that the sales would be down from Final Fantasy XV only because Final Fantasy XV was released on 3 different platforms, where this one has only been released on 1 platform so far. Bear in mind, when Final Fantasy XV did first launch, it was still released on 2 platforms. So again, I can kind of imagine sales would be down because this one's actually exclusive to the PS5, where the other one was on the Xbox One and PS4, and then later on came to PC in terms of the Windows edition. So yeah, let's go with this guy for now. I want to see where this goes.
Final Fantasy XVI is going to have to be forced to be acknowledged as a bomb, right? You know, after Forspoken, after everything Square has done over the past year, like releasing Neo The World Ends With You out to die, releasing all these like shovelware, like low budget, 3D games like Diofield Chronicle, like releasing Octopath Traveler 2, like, doing all this stuff. Like, I think Square Enix is well on their way to being seen as like a relic of the past. I do think that like,
hello, is Crisis Core Reunion a joke to you? Like, I don't know how you could forget that. That was like literally one game that actually came out on your precious Switch. Like, come on. Final Fantasy Crisis Core Reunion was fucking great.
If Capcom is like the Japanese company that people are pretending are like the best ever, right? Like, oh man, Capcom's on top of their game. They're putting out some of the best games, the best modern games. Like Nintendo can't compete.
I mean, Capcom has been putting out bangers in the past 5 years. I mean, come on, Street Fighter 6 just came out. That game's fucking amazing. Devil May Cry 5 is one of my favorite fucking games ever. And you're only kind of upset that because a lot of these games, like the Resident Evil stuff, they're not on the Switch. They tried to port them over to the Switch. They tried to port Resident Evil Village via cloud onto the Switch. So, like, you're kind of upset because games like Devil May Cry 5 aren't on the Switch. Games like Street Fighter 6 aren't on the Switch. And to be fair, I reckon if they could, they probably would. Because Nintendo have that big fan base and there's money to be made there. They would definitely do it. It's just the fact that the hardware is shit and probably can't handle it. And the whole cloud thing, even though they've given that a try, probably doesn't work great, to be honest with you. I mean, come on, they did the HD collection for Devil May Cry on the Switch. Runs fine, I suppose. I haven't actually played it myself. But, yeah, nah, you're just... Nah, dude. You failed there, sorry.
Like, Square Enix is the exact opposite. Like, nobody is seriously trying to pretend that Square Enix is in a good place right now. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but, I think what it comes down to is just, like, the cracks have become so embedded in the company. Like, they're not going away, they're not being fixed, like, none of the issues are being corrected. It's become impossible to ignore. Right? Like, people really tried to sell the public on the idea that Final Fantasy VII-R was some amazing experience that redefined the original game as like one of the, a game worthy of being called Game of the Year. But actual fans, people who actually played the game, were incredibly underwhelmed by the combat, the general aesthetic of the game, the story, like the characters. Like, there was so much about the game that was incredibly off-putting.
Dude, Final Fantasy VII Remake is fucking amazing. It's excellent. In fact, it's so excellent, the only thing I'm upset about it is the fact that it won't ever come to the Xbox platform. That is honestly my biggest gripe about the Final Fantasy VII Remake, is unfortunately not everyone will get to play it unless you own a PlayStation or a PC. And I don't know why you're going on. You're just upset because it didn't come out on your fucking Switch, mate. So shut the fuck up. And we all know Sony paid to have it blocked. Okay, you got the whole Xbox exclusion clause where developers are getting paid by Sony to keep their games off of the Xbox platform. So that's a whole nother video. But dude, people love the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah, it's not as turn-based as it once was. They've kind of dumbed down the combat system and turned it into a hack and slash. And yeah, there are a small community of people who don't appreciate that. But I'd say for the most part, it's fine. They've also done a lot of changes, not big changes, but they've done small changes, because this is actually, not only is Final Fantasy VII Remake a remake of the original game, but it's also going into its own timeline now, because they're starting to change things around. Spoiler alert, Zack Fair is not actually fucking dead, which is absolutely excellent, because he's like one of my favourite fucking characters in Final Fantasy. Zack isn't dead. Holy fuck. I hope he doesn't die in Rebirth.
And no critic wanted to admit it, but the fans did, right? Like, Final Fantasy VII-R was a huge disappointment to everyone who was looking forward to a proper remake of Final Fantasy VII. And,
Final Fantasy VII Remake is literally the one game that I think everyone has been clamoring for, and it gave all of the fans, or most of the fans, exactly what they wanted, including myself. So, you are completely wrong on that, sir.
The fact that 16 is doing so poorly, I think, really just goes to show you how much goodwill Square Enix lost after doing it. And this is something that no critic talked about, no YouTuber did any video essay on, that no forum really discussed. We're at the point now where nobody really has any faith in Square Enix to deliver a Squaresoft tier project ever, right?
As I stated before, I can understand from Final Fantasy 15 sales might be down only because it's released on one platform, where before it was released on 2, at least at launch, and then later on 3. But I don't believe it's down by that much, and I don't believe people are disappointed with it. Final Fantasy 15, were people disappointed with it? Personally, I didn't like it, I didn't care too much for it, but that was just me. Alright, they were using a shitty engine and the game just kinda didn't work properly when it first launched. But I haven't heard any complaints about this game being broken. And I'm looking forward to playing it when I get my hands on it. So, I don't know. I played the demo, there was a lot of cutscene, too much cutscene, not enough gameplay. That was probably the only gripe I had with it so far. But we'll see. Alright. But this guy hasn't even played the game, and he's already jump into these conclusions. You can just tell he's just butthurt that this isn't on his Switch. So, don't know what to tell you, dude.
Company is just a shell of its former self, and it's not possible for them to make a good game, right? Going back to Final Fantasy VI and looking back on how amazing that game was, from the epic score to the incredible artistry, the animations, the sprite work, the environment art, the combat system. You really get the sense that this game is a masterpiece, right? Final Fantasy VI is considered a masterpiece by essentially everyone who plays it, right? Even when I didn't like the game that much, when I first played it, I thought it was kind of dated.
Of course you're gonna simp for Final Fantasy VI, because it came out on your fucking Switch, didn't it? Fuck me. Imagine simping for a game that's so old that you even low-key admitted that you didn't fucking enjoy it, only because it came out on your favorite plastic box. Come on, dude. Seriously?
Who possibly is going to care about this game like 5 years from now. Like, this is going to be the new Final Fantasy 15, where it just comes out and people, critics try to give it like high scores, but the actual audience is so put off by it that, people don't even buy the game. Right, and those that do are just underwhelmed by it. Right, it's the same thing we've seen from Final Fantasy for over 20 years from now. Is that like, what was once this big, relevant, like, culturally relevant, like, the gold standard when it comes to video game stories and cinematics has become like a parody of itself. It really has. Like, it cannot compete with what other game companies are doing. Like, it has real competition now. Like Persona 5. Xenoblade, Fire Emblem. Like, there are just so many other Japanese RPG series that just do what Final Fantasy does better.
So as far as people not caring about the game, do you know what? Only time will tell. Because, like I said, I didn't care too much for Final Fantasy 15. I actually preferred the story for 13 better. I thought that Final Fantasy 15 was broken and buggy, and honestly, never really was fixed. I mean, I beat it recently, and again, I find it a bit broken. But that's just my honest opinion. However, in terms of other people, I could be in the minority. I've met people who absolutely love Final Fantasy 15. They love all the characters like Noctis and so on and so forth. So, only time will tell. Who knows? I haven't actually played Final Fantasy 16 yet, so I don't know if it's good, and I don't know if it's going to be a cult classic. I'm more interested in Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, but that's just, again, personal preference, personal opinion. He also brings up the point that Final Fantasy 15 was such a bomb. Dude, the game sold 10 million copies, and it made over $600 million. So, don't know what to tell you, man. And I've only done that math based off of the fact that, say, they sold every game for $60. So every copy was sold for $60. So, again, dude, who knows? And then, you just adjust that for inflation for 2023. So, yeah. I don't think it was a bomb at all. It did well. It might not have been a critical success, but it was definitely a financial success to the fact that they continue to make more games. Like I said, spin-offs, remakes. The MMO is still being supported by the making of this video. And again, Final Fantasy 16 come out. Do you know what? I love how every single one of those JRPGs you've listed are games that you can play on your Switch, or are available on the Switch. Some of them even exclusive onto the Switch, like Xenoblade Chronicles. Now look, man, I think we all get the point here. You're mad because Final Fantasy 16 isn't on your favourite plastic box. It's not on the Switch, it never will, because the Switch is too underpowered. Okay, it can't run fuck all, okay? Just not happening, okay? You know it's bad when it struggles to run Alan Wake. Not the remastered version, but a port from the 360 version, okay? So, yeah. Sorry for your loss, mate, honestly. Look, man, overall, look, if you're really that bothered about playing certain games, just go out and buy a PlayStation or an Xbox. I don't know, dude. Because it just seems like you're just making this big fuss because all these companies are not supporting your favourite piece of hardware. And to be fair to those companies, to be fair to companies like Capcom, companies to Square Enix, they have actually tried supporting their Switch. They've port things over. I mean, hell, you're getting a Hogwarts Legacy port, which is taking forever because that's going to be a nightmare to make, but, it's coming. So, it's not from the lack of not trying, just it's a very hard console to port for because the hardware and the shit, essentially. And yeah, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, check me out on Discord, Twitter, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video.